What can we do to bridge the gap between the different generations within our culture?
I think events like this, for a start. We've got all ages in here today, all bringing something different to the event, and the community is here, and everybody's sharing and listening and having respect for each other. And like I said, it's an all-age event, so things like this, definitely.
Okay, but in the scene, and I think, you know, if anybody disagrees with me, there is a large gap between those who are young practitioners and those who are seen as the true school heads.
Well, I believe that hip-hop should be taught in schools alongside classical and all the other music genres. So if we actually had that in our education system, then it would instill these things into children at a young age, and then they would grow with it rather than just being introduced to it later on.
Okay, so we're talking about getting hip-hop on the curriculum.
Get hip-hop on the curriculum.
Oh,
every other
interesting.
genre of music is there.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
I would like to, can I say something on this?
Oh, yep, Donald D.
Because when you say bridging the gap, if I look at the B-boy part of it, Rocksteady is still part of today's generation of B-boys. You know, there is no gap between that. The only gap that you see is with that's making the money, the rap part. So major corporations feel a rapper like, let's say, Lil Wayne would not be successful if he put a Melly Mel on a song. That's the gap. They put an age gap on who should make rap music. So it's up to the artist to say, look, I want to do a song with so-and-so. If you look at Macklemore bridge the gap, he went and got Melly Mel, Kumo D, and Grandmaster Caz. A lot of artists can do that if they want. See, Macklemore is from that independent mentality, but if you part of the corporation, they're going to bridge the gap and not want today's artists to be affiliated with the true school legends, or even with my brother here from that 90s golden era will not be making songs with today's artists. It's just the way the artists are. Plus, today's artists are not conscious, like we were speaking on consciousness. You have 1,000 million conscious rappers, but you don't hear about them because their music is not on radio no more. So you feel that they don't exist, but they do exist. It's just about us as a community to just put our music out there as much as we can and let it be heard and not listen to what the corporations say should sell.
Okay, I mean, I'm very mindful, thank you. I'm very mindful that anytime we have a conversation, it gets wrapped around rap. So I want to talk to one of the guys, Shane Fenton, from the B-Boy element. So firstly, do you feel there is a gap between your generation and the generation that's coming up now, who are the new practitioners, and how do we bridge that gap?
Well, the gap that is there, or this gap that's supposedly there, I do work with that. I do a lot of stuff with kids in the streets. I do Dirty 30s, which is 30 and above B-boy battles. And the reason why I do that is because I want the older B-boys to mix with the younger B-boys, for the younger B-boys to know where it came from and what it's about, and you know, to show that, you know, B-boying and hip-hop can go through to your old age. And for the older guys to actually respect some of the younger guys and see what they're doing. So it's like parenting, really. We're the ones who have been through the wash of this corporate stuff. So it's basically just guiding some of the youth.
Okay, but you as a true school head, do you feel part of what the younger generation are doing?
Yeah, okay. I feel part because I'm out there. I'm not sat at home in my
Right,
rocking chair.
but you're doing it as a teacher, right?
I'm out there as a battler, a contender. I'm out there as a teacher. I'm out there. I'm just out there. That's me. I'm out there because.
All right.
You get a lot of old school guys that are sitting at home watching it TV. That's not right. This isn't right. Get in there and show them what's right.
Okay, I'm going to come quickly over to the two generations that we've got here as a family. So, Steve Rex,
yeah.
Is there a gap?
Is there a gap? Well, not from my point of view, because I brought my kids up into it, and I think it's our responsibility, like me. That's why I still do it. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm in the nation, so I can pass it on and educate the kids to. This is what hip hop's about. It's not just rapping. I'm not saying that kids today don't understand all the elements, but I think the majority probably see hip hop as just the rap element of it. But there's much more to it.
Okay. Callum, do you want to come back on that?
Yeah, obviously, for me personally, all I've ever really known is like hip hop. I mean, I dabbled in like, you know, the generic stuff. I went football for like a month and then quit. But for me, like, I know of very many different resources just in Leeds. I think through my age group that like, I know DJ School UK, they do DJ classes and specialise in working with children. And that's from like, you know, there's a guy called Jim Bluefoot and Dan, they both run it, and they're like OGs in like in the DJ world. There's Fenton's an OG straight up, speaks to the streets, bringing like kids and stuff like that. There's Beans and Gina, they're teaching like a new generation of B-boys. I'm floating about trying to do my part, but you know what I'm saying.
Thank you. Okay, on to the next question.
Yo, sorry.
Oh.
Can I just say one thing?
Sorry, I was just going to
Basically,
say, what
it's all about, you're talking about bridging the gap and all the rest of it. I think it's all about education, man. Do you know what I'm saying? Obviously, the history of how hip-hop come about is very, very important. It started off with the beat collectors and the DJing aspect, and the MC was there to hype up the DJ.
Let me come back to you, AJ, on the next question, okay? Because D3 did mention education, so thank you for backing it up.